We're live.
Welcome to tonight's finance meeting. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, indeed. Mr. Fisher,
Here.
Ms. Chesser,
Here.
Ms. Kramer,
Here.
Mr. Michelson.
Here. All members present. I put forth a motion to adopt today's agenda as posted. Do you have a second?
I just had a correction. I am not absent.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know I don't know how I missed that. I go through the old ones, and because I'm still not actually dealing with the files, so we're working on it.
Yep. And then I didn't know if on the signature page, it should have you as interim admin or still fiscal officer. I think you've got it different on this and council.
It all depends on the document that I'm pulling it from. I can update that at the end of council.
Acting or intern, what was the correct language?
I think we'll find out. Acting. It also says wrong at the top.
Yeah, I fixed that. If you go to the website now, it should not say wrong.
What's it wrong?
It
At
just,
the top of the header.
it was,
says
it
wrong.
was, I pull from whichever agendas I have left over from before the cybersecurity incident.
Mhm.
So until we have an actual rhythm, this is actually the first finance meeting, I believe, since October. So I was pulling off of old documents that were just, from all over the place. So I tried to make myself a note so that I would fix the document, and I did mostly, but I forgot to remove the wrong at the top. But that's fixed, and all that's online is correct.
Cool. All right, so a motion to
We're waiting for a second to adopt.
second, yeah, as amended. All in favor?
Hi.
Next, we have the minutes from October 27th.
I'm changing that to approved minutes. I wrote adopt agenda there. Again, that was incorrect. It's approved minutes.
Got it.
So that's the October 27th meeting, just previous to the cybersecurity event.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Apologies. Is Darren Bell still on?
So I removed him. I've not received an official resignation from him, but as he is no longer a resident and has not attended the last three, technically, I think according to the rules, he could be removed.
Okay.
So I just took him off the list, and if we hear from him, we can deal with it.
Okay, but we don't need to do an official removal for the record.
We can ask.
If there's any questions,
At council tonight.
if there's any questions from audit, I would say that he was absent for 3 meetings in a row, and that was either not excused or that was
He moved out of jurisdiction.
Yeah. Well, he's technically still a business owner here, but he's not the resident, so he can sit on a committee.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second. Do we have?
Do we have all in favor for the adopted minutes?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next on our agenda, we have for new business. So here it says to elect chair of finance.
So I believe that was a mistake on my part. I think I was confusing commissions and committees. The committees do not.
The mayor is who appoints the chair.
Right. Yeah. So that was my mix up there.
And if I may, Chair, I have been informed that there is interest in a change of the chair. Zach has expressed interest in that. Without objection, I'm happy to appoint him as chair of the Finance Committee. I just learned of this evening. I was planning on announcing Mr. Fisher as chair, no changes on Finance Committee. But I can go ahead and make that announcement now, as well as at the full
You're
council
asking
meeting.
us whether, are you asking?
I'm
our
asking if
president?
there's any kind of objection to that. Would you like more time to consider? Or,
I'd be curious how David feels.
I'm fine with that.
yeah, I'd asked David. I left that out, sorry.
All All right,
Well,
next
then-
meeting, clearing the throat, wear a scarf, you might help.
I'll get that.
I want to come 2 different days.
I already tried that. Brittany, I was gonna let you know, but he said no.
Well, I'll just do that. That's also an option.
If I can be chair of all
If I
committees
can.
and vice mayor, then maybe
Cool.
be all roles in the village.
Next,
That's a dictatorship.
tonight at full council, we have a couple of new legislation or old just renewals for the 8 mil levy, the 2 mil levy, and for the, those 2 levies for starters.
Right, so I can give a brief overview
Or
of
should we
those.
wait for full council?
I can give a brief overview. I would normally, to a certain degree, if it's all on the same night, it's kind of silly to spend much time in finance on this, but just, that you should be aware. There are 2 levies that are up for renewal. The road levy and the general fund operating levy. All of these levies, when they were passed, they were 8 mils and 2 mils respectively at the time of passage. But as we've discussed before, millage does not go up based on the property value. So both of those, the 8 mil is worth about 4.5 right now, and the 2 mil is worth about 1 mil. So these are not massive taxes compared to what the number is on the books. Meaning, if you look at the actual millage and the adjusted millage, Gulf Manor will never see the actual millage from anyone. But it's on the books as 8 and 2. We can always pass them as a renewal with an increase that brings it to the current millage. I don't know that there's necessity for that, but the main point here is that although we've been extremely successful in getting grants for road projects, for instance, we got over $500,000 for Mayflower from SORTA money. We're not guaranteed that money on any of our road projects. In fact, the Chuck Harmon and Piper Way application was deemed to be too low of the condition was too good in order to be funded. Now, anyone who walks over there or drives over there would see collapsed catch basins and curbs that are all, messed up because it's literally a 25, 30-year-old street, maybe even older, but it's not a high traffic street. So if we want to do some of those streets or any other streets that we might not get the grants for, we have to have money for that coming from somewhere. The road levy has been traditionally let it build up for 2 to 3 years and then do a bigger road project. It's not a massive road levy. Roads cost us over $1 million each to get them done, and the road levy generates just around $300,000, so about 328. So I think it's an important thing to pass. I think it's important to keep that going, to continue building the road levy. We are not in immediate need for it. So if we were concerned about reducing taxes right now, yeah, I definitely could hear that. I think in the past, we've always discussed that there are certain funds that we get from the state because they're old tax levies that we wouldn't get if we then ran into the necessity. That's that rollback homestead, which is always like a good percentage of the total. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that if we were gonna say, oh, let's take it off and then see, right? But projecting, it does make sense that we're gonna end up spending a significant amount of money doing Chuck Harmon and Rosedale. There's a couple other road projects that we don't know how they're gonna score, and having that money available really does make those projects available so that we can make sure that our streets are in good shape at all times. So that's the road levy. I'll take any questions if there are any of that. Otherwise, I would speak about the general fund.
Can we get an update on where the projects are and what is still in the pipeline? I think that's.
Yeah, so there is a report for that. I apologize, I don't have that on for tonight, but I can have that for the next council meeting. Or the next, yeah.
That would be helpful for us to understand like what is coming out of the pipeline. Because I know, correct me if I'm wrong, is Ridge Acres complete?
Ridge Acres is more or less complete. I mean, they've
We're
done
still waiting on speed bumps?
Still waiting on speed bumps and painting, and then Yosemite, if anyone's after.
I've
actually
seen
been
that,
there,
and that still looks like
it's
a.
a disaster.
Mhm.
We're still waiting to hear back from the contractor what happened, and they're telling us that it's not their fault, it's the subcontractor's fault. We're still waiting to hear about what happened, but they have been put on notice that we've requested a written response. It also may kind of change the way that we do, the way that we award road projects in the future, putting in penalty clauses, because there was plenty of lead time in this project. But Chuck Harmon and Piper is one of the streets on the horizon. I believe Graceland is on the horizon. But there's 4 that we have that the engineer has identified kind of in order of importance. And I apologize, I don't have that right now, but I can definitely pull that up. I can email it to you before the next council meeting, but I can try and have something for you by then.
Great, thank you.
So any other questions on the road levy? Okay. So the next is obviously the 2 mil general fund operating levy. This generally does not make all that much money for us. It's about $40,000 to $50,000 per with this, because it's effectively 1 mil. The reason I'm indicating that we should keep this going, why I'm recommending that, is because at the end of this year we lose the it's about $109,000 from the separation agreement with Little Miami Fire and Rescue. As of current, our fire levy makes about $485,000, and our current contract with them is about $585,000. So there is a $100,000 shortfall, which has been made up for by the LMFR money. So that's going to be a significant dip. If we further reduce that by getting rid of these general fund levies, that's just going to put more stress on the budget and going to create a wider gap. Again, it's not absolutely critical, but I think having other projects in mind and having other things that we want to do as a village, this does afford us a certain level of flexibility. It's not a huge levy, but it's not nothing. So it's about halfway to that to that gap.
Can you remind me, we also have a fire levy on,
We do have a fire levy, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But you're suggesting keeping the general fund levy to cover the discrepancy?
Well, I'm not to cover it, being it's never going to cover it. Right? We're already going to see $100,000 dip. The question is, do we want to see $150,000 dip? Right. So I would argue that it doesn't make sense to make it less affordable for us to have fire and EMS services. Not that it goes directly towards that. I don't want to mislead. But again, both of these, they do require a special meeting of council to request the levy be on the ballot. I'll discuss this a little bit more in the full council meeting. Any other questions on those?
Yeah, would it be possible to put together a summary or an outline of all the different levies that the village currently has in place and when they would be up for renewal? Just so we can have a
I can send that
kind
to
of
you.
360
I
view.
have that from the county, but yes, absolutely.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. I put that in the minutes, and I will try and remember to get it back to you.
Perfect, thank you.
No problem. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Tonight, we wouldn't necessarily be voting on this in council tonight. It would just be because we need a special meeting
On the
for
levy? On the levy, we would have to pass the resolution of necessity tonight, which then goes to the county, they certify it, and then it comes back to us where we actually put it, the village council actually would put it on the ballot. I would request that we do that at the February 2nd, February
You have it as a special meeting, so.
3rd meeting to basically include a special meeting in the February 3rd community engagement and executive meetings. It would be a quick, just literally 15 minutes to put it on to discuss the merits or demerits of doing it. That can certainly be done.
Sure.
But again, if we want to hit it on the May ballot, it has to be done before February 4th, which again, previous legal counsel did not inform us of that deadline. It's something that we probably should have as a regular schedule. So you have asked for this document. I've also requested the current legal counsel put this in kind of as part of their regular legal packets, that we're not running into this literally up to the deadline. And they were very, very okay with doing that. So extremely happy with
one of
that.
many things I asked him about.
Yeah, extremely happy about that turnaround. So again, that's, okay. So happy to move on to the next item unless there are any specific questions.
Nope.
Okay, so RFP for waste and recycling services was issued officially January 19th. Of course, I put in that date, not realizing that it was Martin Luther King Day. So we'll call it today. It was officially open. However, it was posted on Friday. So if you want, you could backdate it. The call for proposals or request for proposals has already been sent out to Rumpke, Republic Services, and Waste Management. I did receive a response from Waste Management that we are outside of their service area. The closest they have is somewhere north of here. I think it was Lebanon, South Lebanon or Lebanon. I can't remember. Maybe Xenia, but like not close enough that they are willing to come to Gulf Manor. I have spoken pretty extensively with representatives from both Republic Services and Rumpke. They're both intending to respond. Rumpke may instead give us a 1 year, 4 month extension to our current contract, in which then we would be potentially eligible for the Center for Local Government Waste Services pool. So we would be negotiating with several other municipalities and hopefully get a better rate then. If that was the route we chose, Republic Services will not be offering anything less than 3 years. It's just not worth it for them, and the costs would be astronomical for us because of all the setup. They have to hire drivers and literally procure equipment. So they've asked for about a six month lead time. We're not able to give that to them. It's going to be 5.5 months, but they said that is okay. I spoke to, like I said, her name's Annie Swift over there. She's super nice. And she let me know that 5.5 month lead time would be okay.
Most municipalities pool, that's like, you just have to be available to sign a contract at that same time that everyone else does, and there's
Pretty
no
much.
like opt-in at a later point.
Well, there was another one that we missed, but I didn't know about it until it was 6 months after it. So there's a few pools, right? And if you know about it, so then, you organize your contracts so that they end at certain times and say, okay, fine. But again, I'm looking at this and saying, if Republic Services can do significantly better than what Rumpke is doing now, or what Rumpke is doing with Center for Local Government, I've requested those numbers from the center. So then I will make a recommendation based on what makes the most sense for the residents. But that's where that's at.
Cool.
Okay, I can do finance packets if you all want.
Yep.
All right, so run through October here. For the month of October fiscal year 25, the village had a combined bank balance of $4,447,761.97. Of that amount, $245,574.80 can be found in the village's primary checking accounts, and $2,465,659.13 can be found in the village's high interest savings account. Remaining balances reside in other village dedicated funds. The village generated $113,204.40 in general fund income tax receipts for RETA. Through RETA. RETA collections are slightly higher than October of the previous year by 9%, and a higher year-to-date by about 5%. The village had already received the second biennial disbursement of real estate taxes. However, homestead and rollback funds did arrive in the amount of $73,841.08. Again, that's the money that the state fills in for when it's an older levy, so makes up for some of the loss of millage. The village received $230,640.49 in general fund receipts. This number is $73,554.35 more than October fiscal year 24, due to the sale of a village service truck and receipt of the homestead rollback funds in the same month. Star Fund earned $6240.17, and the Fifth Third Savings Account earned $8,175.25. Top 5 pays for the month of Banzel, that's the intersection project, payroll, DPS, Rumpke, and OPNF. Total general fund appropriations spent for the month was in the amount of $184,558.15. This figure is $5,612.30 less than October fiscal year 24, so just about on par. The village had 16 outstanding payments that totaled $201,939.23. Village administration will continue to monitor appropriation spend and make any adjustments deemed necessary. I will move into the second report. If everyone's ready.
We approve it now, or we have to approve in council?
You could recommend to council all at once. I don't think you have to do it individually. So for November fiscal year 25, the village had a combined bank balance of $4,307,564.19. Of that amount, $189,716.94 can be found in the village's primary checking accounts, and $2,372,574.99 can be found in the village's high interest savings account. The remaining balances reside in other village dedicated funds. The village generated $71,252.97 in general fund income tax receipts. RETA collections are slightly lower than November of the previous year by approximately 7%, still year-to-date higher by just under 5%. Village already received the second biennial disbursement of real estate taxes. Obviously, we got homestead and homestead rollback of 73,841.08 by then. Village receives $109,089.13 in general fund receipts. That number is $94,621.94 less than November of the previous fiscal year. Again, that's due to the sale of the police department Durango in 2024. As well, Hamilton County real estate collections had a reconciliation of the amount of about $18,000 in 24, and the 2024 repayment of advances to other funds all happened in November. But if you would remove all of those, then it's about comparable. The Star Fund earned $5,842.16. Fifth Third Savings Account was $69,1586. And just a note I wanted to put in there is due to the cuts in interest rates from the Federal Reserve, both savings accounts have seen a corresponding decrease in interest collection. So I'll point out that so far for the year, we're at $138,249.55 in interest on money that is otherwise just sitting, right? Big deal. But we're seeing that money is going to not dry up, but it's going to be reduced, right? We can't assume that money is going to continue to come in as we see interest rates lowering. I think next year it'll probably still be in excess of $100,000, but much more than that, I would be surprised. The years of getting close to 150, which this year, last year, I'm not certain that those are going to continue. Top 5 payees for the month were payroll, Ohio Police and Fire, U.S. Bank, Duke Energy, and Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation. Why, might you ask, are there all these new vendors in the top 5 payees? Well, that's because in November, we experienced the cyber attack, which crippled our ability to pay bills for a couple of weeks. So that's why I think the U.S. Bank or the Duke Energy bill was like $5,000. We couldn't pay bills. So thankfully, we're just about back to normal paying bills and everything's on time. But that was a weird month. Total village general fund appropriation spent for the month was the amount of $110,151.89. That figure is $76,975.82 less than November of fiscal year 24, mostly due to the inability to operate accounts payable caused by the November 14th, 2025 cybersecurity incident. The village had only 2 outstanding payments that totaled $109.88. The administration will continue to monitor appropriation spend and make any adjustments deemed necessary.
Were there any penalties for Mr. Late Payments?
There were, definitely. It's the total amount of penalties that I have observed are less than $300. So I'm not really losing sleep over that. We have reached out to different vendors and letting them know. Some of them are not so easy to actually interface with a person. So like
Sure.
to get your $39 back is just not, it's not worth our time. But yeah, there are definitely some late payments there. But yeah. Okay, so I guess I would ask for a recommend council to approve motion.
Motion to recommend to council.
Approval.
Motion to recommend the 2 financial packets from October and November to council. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Okay.
passes. Next finance committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 17th, at 6:30 p.m.
Is it really 6:30 or is it 6?
So I mentioned the possibility, considering that we're at 26 minutes, and if there's nothing else pending, that's up to you, Mr. Michelson, being chair, right?
Well, he's not chair technically.
Pending chair.
What do you guys want?
We usually don't take up more than half an hour. Unless there's something happens.
Are you okay with that, Brittany?
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
If things change and there are major items, I would like to request the opportunity to say, hey, let's make it a longer meeting. But being that most of the time it's just the finance packet, I don't assume that the February meeting, we will have closed out the year because we're just still cleaning up the mess. It's mostly cleaned up and I think we're done with 25, but like, it's, I'm thankfully October and November we were able to knock out, right? Those were easy enough, but because there was so much backlog in November for the weeks that we couldn't make payments, December is gonna be a somewhat messy month.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I would say that when we have the budget conversations, that's
July.
when we would need
Oh, yeah.
July
Yeah.
and when we go to approve the final
Yeah,
budget.
so July and September, I would assume we're gonna need more time.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so keeping it at 6:30 on February 17th. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
You said February 17th?
Yeah.
What time?
6:30.
What did you ask for?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor,
Aye.
you are free.
Okay, well, turn this off here.